Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. So we have a night of announcements. We saw what LR God Goku's EZA looks like on Global Dokkan. He seems fairly good. I feel like he's should be a pretty solid character you should be able to run in events, right? He could have been a little bit better, but they also could have made him worse. So I'm pretty content. I feel like I would be comfortable running him in some really difficult fights. So I feel like they probably did do a good job with God Goku, but I'll wait before I go too crazy until he comes out on JP, right? So we have part 1 of the 8th anniversary here. Now, people were actually pretty vocal about complaining that there was nothing to do here, even though this is more or less pretty similar to the typical sort of anniversaries. I feel like the one sort of extra thing that we had, well, okay, I'm talking prior to these guys dropping as part of part 1, but the one sort of extra thing that the 7th anniversary had, which the 8th anniversary does not, was legendary event missions for the legendary GT Goku event and the legendary Vegeta event, which I think is actually pretty good content, right? I think it's something they should do pretty much every single celebration. So that was definitely a W for the 7th anniversary over the 8th anniversary. But they dropped these 2 EZAs in part 1. So I think that clinches it, and part 1 of the 8th anniversary is actually better than part 1 of the 7th anniversary. Now, of the 3 story events right here, we know this is going to be an LR. We don't know what the LR is going to be. This has the Mr. Satan, and then we have the announcement. I think this one right here, he is getting his Dokkan Awakening, and it is still just a Mr. Satan card right there, right? And then this one right here, this only has support memory right here, and they did just announce that this is also going to be getting another support memory right here, is what this is going to be getting, right? We have this GT Piccolo and Goku support memory right there. So definitely we do have sort of one less free-to-play character. Now, I do expect this extra free-to-play character is going to show up somewhere. I don't think that they're just going to do 2 free-to-play characters this year, but we'll kind of see what they have, you know, up their sleeve, right, with their sort of bag of tricks here. So I guess let's just take a look at all of the announcements, and then we could just sort of talk about what I would expect, for the most part, what part 2 should have, right? So we have new stages that are going to show up in this story event. This is interesting. It actually did not show us what the LR is here. I don't know why this is, because the data download should be tonight in 12, 18 hours. Like 18 hours from now is the data download. So it just seems weird to me that they're just going to put it in the data download. They're not going to reveal it to themselves. So I would say there's at least a reasonable chance we could potentially see an LR tweeted like in a half hour, this LR tweeted, and then maybe an EZA or something like that. Last year, as part of the 7th anniversary with part 2, remember we got 2 EZAs. One was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Omega Shenron. The other was Tech God Goku and STR God Vegeta, right? We had 2 EZAs that EZA'd 2 characters, and that was like right now, right at the start of part 2, along with this stuff. So I feel, I don't know, I'm starting to wonder, like, are they going to tweet some of this stuff out in a half hour? Because I don't know why they wouldn't just show the LR here. They're really going to just show the LR in the data download? Like, they have to know. It's not just our community that has data miners that go through this stuff. The Japanese community has data miners too, right? Like, I don't understand why, like, they wouldn't just, I don't think they're just going to put it in the data download. Like, they want to reveal it on their own terms. I think there's no reason not to tweet this, especially because this LR is very likely to be a standby skill character. 2 years ago, as an example, LR Roshi had a revive. Last year, LR Goten, Trunks, and Gohan had an intro. So it would make a lot of sense to me if LR Babidi here would have a standby skill. I think Babidi is going to have a standby skill. So we'll see. And what is it going to be? Majin Buu, Majin Vegeta, Dabura. It'll probably be something like that. We will see. So we have that. We have new stages added to this. This is the Son Goku and Friends story event. Or we're going to be able to get the Mr. Satan free-to-play unit right here. I would say this isn't really too impressive or noteworthy or anything like that. because Mr. Satan, this is his, what, 80th free-to-play card or something like that? Who cares, right? Like, I'm sorry. That if we're going to drop another Mr. Satan at this point, give him a Dokkan Fest, right? Like, why not? Like, this doesn't need to be a free-to-play character, I don't think. This, to me, seems kind of worthless. Kind of a waste. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Just seems kind of pointless. Okay, so, actually, let me pull this up. We have an Infinite Dragon Ball History stage. Now, this is something specifically I saw a lot of people complaining about, that Part 1 did not have an Infinite Dragon Ball History stage. But I believe the 7th anniversary I believe the 7th anniversary didn't even have an Infinite Dragon Ball History stage at all. I don't think so, right? Let me just quickly double check that, because I know it didn't have one in Part 1. Again, we're going to talk about this. They had their Red Zone stages. We'll talk more. I was thinking we could see a Red Zone show up, but now I'm not really... I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see if some other event might show up or something like that. So then here we have Part 2. We got the new stories. Again, here's the 2 EZAs right there. More stages added to the Red Zone. Yeah, see, the missions right here. This is the one thing the 8th anniversary is lacking. No missions here. I feel like they could just add missions to something. Red Zone, anything. Right? Maybe added more missions to some of these Red Zone stages this year. Could have been fun. Like, what if you have to beat Baby with a GT hero team? Or something like that. I feel like that's good content. It is. It's very easy for them to do, I think. So there's that. And then the top legendary sun banner, which again, as you guys see, is on the 17th. So that'll be next week. Next week is the LRs, like next week's data download and stuff like that. If we don't get EZA characters this week with this, so like if they're not in the data download tonight, then I think the EZA characters would drop with the LRs. To me, it makes more sense to drop the EZAs now. Even though sort of like a couple of days ago, last week was kind of like, you know, Boo and Vegito. But I feel like dropping more EZAs right here this week, then the Part 2 LRs, and then, you know, the free-to-play LR EZAs or whatever the hell is going to be here. You know, Bobity's EZA and those types of characters could happen in this last week right there, right? So, yeah, there's Part 2. I don't even know. This is where it's going to get interesting, though. Is Part 3 for the 7th anniversary, and the EX part is where things got crazy. Because we had the 2 EZAs for the 3rd anniversary LRs, which is just, like, nutty. More missions there. And then the EX part, like, is the 8th anniversary going to have an EX part too? This has to be, like, borderline a top 5 Dokkan moment for me. I don't know. Like, I'm playing Elden Ring. It's like they announced Dokkan Fest Captain Ginyu, and then, oh, the anniversary's still going on, by the way, and we're EZing these guys. It was so crazy. Like, this is so nuts. So this is where it'll be hard for the 8th anniversary to pass the 7th anniversary, because the 7th anniversary ended so strong, right, with these 4 Dokkan Fest LR EZAs. That's where I think 8th anniversary could have trouble. But we do have an Infinite Dragon Ball History stage showing up, which never happened during the 7th anniversary, so that's good. I mean, these are always fun, right? These Infinite Dragon Ball History stages. We're going to get new stages added to this event. This is supposed to be sort of the difficult event that sort of like matches up with the Red Zone. Stages 4, 5, and 6 are going to appear. Interesting. I wonder if there's just going to be 7 stages. Is it going to end with Sin? Or could there be another stage after that? Maybe Omega would be his own stage? We'll see. Hard to say for sure. I would assume the final stage in here is going to become the hardest event in the game. I would guess. I would be surprised if whatever final content drops during this anniversary is weaker than Cell Max. I would be surprised. Keep in mind that this event drops a Shadow Dragon Saga support memory, and specifically it buffs Shadow Dragon characters even more. So I would be pretty surprised if Omega is not a Part 2 LR, which is stupid because Omega's going to come into the game by himself. They need to do big stuff. Omega has no help. The Shadow Dragons suck. They all suck. They dropped Ice and Nova, and they're like the worst summonable unit we've had in... Ice and Nova, they might be worse. They're worse than like the Krillin and Gohans, the Trunks and Gotens. Because, dude, Ice and Nova are on GT bosses, Join Forces, and Shadow Dragon Saga. Like, completely dead release. Mid character, they do nothing. They're pretty terrible. Doesn't make any sense, right? And you're going to drop Omega after the worst banner unit ever? Like, I don't know. It's odd, I would say for sure with that. And then of course, yeah, the rival event, we're getting another new support memory. No character here. I was surprised at that. Another support memory is cool. I do like support memories quite a bit, but no character. Again, I would say it's pretty surprising. So we have the free-to-play LR, Mr. Satan's Getting Awakening, new Infinite Dragon Ball History stage, 3 stages added to this, and then of course the new support memory. I think that there's an outside chance we could see some tweets, maybe EZA characters or LRs later tonight. We will see. I will be around. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.